Good evening. This is Priscilla with Scylla Travel, joining you live on Independence Day evening. For those of you who decided to join me, I'm very happy to see you. I'm going to be doing some housekeeping. So right now, I'm going to check on my phone because I have my phone sitting here to the side of me so that I can see your comments and to make sure that I'm on Facebook. And I look over here on the console because if I can't see both, hey, Caitlin, I see a comment from somebody. And it's my lovely assistant, Caitlin. She said, hello. Hey, Caitlin. I have her working, checking to make sure everything is in order. So housekeeping, back to what I was saying, making sure I can see it on Facebook over here, on my phone. And also, what I would like for you to do is go to the very top of this post and hit the link granting StreamYard, which is my streaming tool, permission to access your Facebook account. Otherwise, I can't see your name. You'll show up as Facebook user. Let me check over here again. Yeah, you'll show up as Facebook user. You won't show up as your name. So I won't be able to see what your comments are. So, one thing, happy Independence Day, happy 4th of July. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men are created equal, and women. So I just wanted to just welcome everybody and say hello, happy Independence Day. For those of you who are live, thank you for tuning in. For those of you who will be dialing in for the replay, I certainly appreciate you as well. Today is also going to be our giveaway of our book, which is, let us see, is The Gullah Recipes by Miss Teresa Hilliard. So, hey, Deborah, I can see you. Glad to see you, Deborah. So I've got you, Deborah, and I've got Caitlin live. And now, if you hear any noise in the background, it's my neighbors doing the fireworks a little early. So I'm not even going to keep you too long because I know everybody is probably eating and probably waiting to do their fireworks. I plan to do the same thing as soon as it gets dark. Our tradition is we go outside, pull our chairs in our driveway, and watch the neighbors shoot off the fireworks in the subdivision. It's like a competition, the battle of the cul-de-sacs. And we just sit there and we just watch them. So that's what our 4th of July tradition is. This year we're smoking some meat. My husband smoked some meat. He bought a smoker. We didn't barbecue. I was like, bright idea. How about if we use the smoker this time? Yeah. So that's what I'll be looking forward to. Some more housekeeping. Okay. Let me introduce myself to you. To those of you who don't know me, maybe this is the first time you have tuned in, or maybe later on during the replay, you've never heard me before. I'm Priscilla, and my name is Priscilla, and I'm with Scylla Travel. I am the owner of Scylla Travel. I'm an independent agency, and I do luxury travel. And when I say luxury, it doesn't mean a bunch of diamonds and a bunch of Learjets. Luxury simply means travel that's customized and catered and tailored specifically to you and your preferences. And it's not one of those cookie cutter trips. It's a trip where you have someone like moi help you put together to go and experience the trip of your dream, whether that's an adventure travel, whether that is, a culture trip, whether that is a skiing trip, whether that is going to Mount Kilimanjaro, whether that is, going to Tibet. These are custom trips. So that's what I do. I help you live the dream through travel. So thanks again for all of those of you who are live, and I'm going to thank all those who are going to be doing the replay. We're going to be doing the giveaway. And the most engaged individual between now and tomorrow, because I'm going to account for the replay people, will win the book. And that's by Miss Teresa Hilliard, Gullah Recipes. And it's There are some recipes in that book that are definitely of Ghana heritage or origin. So we're here to pick up what we left off last week talking about Ghana. And I'm talking about Ghana because we're in the works of planning a trip at the end of 2021, giving this COVID business some opportunity to just go away and all the countries to have an opportunity to work out their issues. Mostly us. But I digress, but I'm going to move on. Most of the countries are moving on. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to you about, pick up where I left off last week. We talked about Experience Ghana. That was sort of like an introduction of why you should want to visit Ghana, what's there for you to visit, you know, at a high level. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about the things that are offered to African Americans in particular in the country of Ghana by the government of Ghana. So last year was considered the year of return in the country of Ghana to African Americans. Not only African Americans, those in the Caribbean, those of any person who is of African origin in the world. That's called the diaspora, and they're welcoming us back. So I just wanted to pick up where I left off last week, and I just wanted to give you a little bit more about Ghana because, like I said, we really in the United States did not and don't learn very much about African American history, and we're right here, let alone Eastern history. We learn about Western civilization, all about Europe and those areas. We don't really learn about Africa, and we don't learn unless we go on our own and go do some research, which that's what I did, you know? So, and this is just a perfect time, especially with all of the things going on in our culture here in the US. You know, it's like an emergence of people wanting to know where they came from, their heritage, you know, wanting their voices to be heard. It's an opportune time right now to jump on the bandwagon and learn and take advantage of some opportunities that the motherland and Ghana in particular is offering to us. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to talk through some slides. Not going to keep you long because I know everybody wants to go and eat their food. Ah, Nikita. Hey, Nikita. How you doing? Thank you for joining. So let me share my screen. Like I said, if I look over there, it's because I want to make sure that I am sharing on Facebook. So hang on a second. I really need a second monitor. You see I have these glasses on? Yeah, I need a second monitor for that. Just for that. So hang on, there's a delay here. I'm trying to get this thing to pick up. Let me try it again. Share screen. I have to pay attention here. This window. Here we go. Share. You'll see it in a second. So, can everybody see my presentation when I open it up in this window? I'm going to open it up right now. So, remember if you want me to see your comments, you got to hit the link in StreamYard in the comments. So, there goes some fireworks right now. So, let me start my presentation. Start from the beginning. And I'm looking over here to make sure that I can see the presentation. Okay. Can everybody see? Let me make that a little bit smaller. I'm going to try this again. So, could you see it? Okay, Deborah says she could see it. I'm going to start it again. I'm going to start my presentation again. From the beginning. Hang on a second. I think I need to do a, there. That's how you do it. Here we go. Now, visit Ghana. Just a little housekeeping. This is what I do. I help you live the dream through travel. What I do is I work with you to plan the vacation of your dreams. I design travel experiences for you that you're going to talk about with your family, your kids, your friends for years to come. What I do specifically is I book luxury vacations in Africa, the Caribbean, Mexico, and North America. I customize your trip for you. I even do groups. If you got a group of people, whether that be a multi-generational type trip, whether it's your whole family, or whether it's just a group of friends. I manage all of your people. I coordinate and do all the payments. I coordinate the people, so they're out of your hair. I answer all of their questions about the trip as well as yours, and I take care of all the details so you can relax and focus on the fun. Okay, so let's see. I'm checking again. Hang on one second. I'm going over here on Facebook Live, Facebook, to see if I can see what you guys are seeing. Okay. So somebody in the comment section, let me know if you can still see the presentation and you can see the window. Somebody make a comment. I'm looking over here on my Facebook. Assistant Caitlin, can you see my presentation? Deborah, Nikita, can you see it? Just make a comment in the comment section on Facebook. Let me know. All right, so nobody commented, so I'm going to go on. So, like I mentioned, yep, Deborah says she can see it. The year of return. I started this last week. 2019 was the year of return in Ghana. And that was a major, major landmark for Ghana. It was also a major marketing campaign, and it was targeted towards us, African Americans, as well as people of the diaspora, or the diaspora, however you want to pronounce it. That goes for people in the Caribbean. That goes for other people, whether it be Great Britain or any of the other countries. If you are of African heritage, whether you are a child or a descendant of slaves, or whether you, in recent years, your parents or you, for some reason, relocated to another country, you are welcome to return. So last year was the year of the return, 2019. Now, 2020 was supposed to be beyond the return, right? But you know what happened in 2020? It was supposed to be the hugest tourist year for hospitality in Ghana ever. But the coronavirus put a monkey wrench in that. But we have not given up hope. Okay, so we're keeping that hope alive. Keep hope alive. So, question, why Ghana, right? Okay, couple of reasons. The very first president of Ghana, his name was Kwame Nkrumah, and he became the president of Ghana in the 1950s. Yeah, the 1950s, and he encouraged people of African descent back in those days to return home and help develop the entire continent of Africa. So Ghana became an independent nation in around 1958, and around that time, 1960, when W.E.B. Du Bois, who was one of our African American notable people, historian, sociologist. He was just around, he was an activist. He was against Jim Crow. He went to Accra. He was commissioned by the president to create this library. And in 1960, that was like the hugest year, because I think it was 17 or 18 African countries also became independent nations from colonial rule. So it was huge. And back in those days, the president, Nkrumah, invited all African people or people of African descent to return home and help to develop the continent. So that was then. Recently, the current president, his name is Nana Akufo-Addo. Last year, he extended the same offer to people of the Caribbean. And this year, the tourism minister, her name is Barbara Otengayasi. During the George Floyd protests and the things that were going on here, she was a little bit more personal. She invited African Americans specifically to come back, especially if we felt uncomfortable. So why Ghana? Because the diaspora, especially here in the United States, we really have lost track of our history and our heritage. Hundreds of years ago, we've been in the United States for hundreds of years, about 400 years, maybe even longer. There have been enslaved African people in the United States during colonial times, but that was before it was the United States. So yeah, it wasn't even the United States then. They were here since the 1600s. However, the slave trade actually took off in the 1700s. And that's when it just really, really, really became different than like indentured servitude, where if you're an indentured servant, you serve for a number of years, and then upon the 7th year or whatever the contract is up, then you become free. So we do have some African Americans who have descended from freed Black people, mostly in the North. So part of my family in the North, they are, but like I said, we've lost a lot of our heritage and our history. So the Ghanaians have invited us to relive our history through them, because they've preserved a lot of the places where the slave trade began. Not just Ghana, but, in the West African area in general. So this is my story. This is my personal story. So this is where it all began, right? I became so curious about this some years ago, especially when they started doing all of these DNA tests. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. I did too. I did Ancestry, and I also did 23andMe. But I like 23andMe better because it does this like nice cultural history thing, right? So as you can see, my ancestry composition, and this is just 92%. I have ancestry in the other 8% made up of European, Asian, and some other things. But that was just too complicated. So this is the majority of my DNA. This is my ancestry composition. I am 22.4% Nigerian and 22.3% Ghanaian, Liberian, and Sierra Leone. And they group those three together because they have a distinct, not nationality, but a distinct heritage, and their DNA is different. They have there's some distinct things about their genetic makeup. And then I have 15.6% Senegambian and Guinea. So this is where it all started for me. So I was like so overwhelmed, because I was like, I have no idea where to look, where to search if I wanted to find out where I'm from. And my daughter, when she was in high school, she was like, wanted to know these things. And they did, for once in her high school, they did an African American literature class. And then she was telling me about how surprised, because the school's mixed, how surprised that some of the Caucasian kids were that African Americans actually contributed so much to our rich history and our society, because our history is just like omitted. It's just not there. So that's my story. So this is something that's close to my heart. And I'm sure there are other people out there just like me who feel the same way. So this is the Renaissance Project, and this is where I'm just going to focus in on what's going on in Ghana. This is a part of their emphasis to bring people of the diaspora or diaspora, however you want to pronounce it, back to the continent, but bring them back to Ghana. They have some initiatives, and they have like the 7-pillar approach over the course of 10 years to improve things in their country, improve their economy, to improve relations with other African nations, and invite other African Americans, not just African Americans, people of African descent back to the country to help them rebuild. So this is where we are today. Last week I talked about Experience Ghana. These 3 pillars I'm going to talk about today. Invest in Ghana, Pathways to Ghana, and Celebrate Ghana. So the other 3, the next time I do a live, I'll talk about those 3, which would be brand, give back, and improve tourism and heritage. But these are the 3 emphasis areas that I'm going to be talking about today. I'm focusing on today. So invest in Ghana. This is about one of the pillars, and they talk about Ghana being the fastest growing economy in the entire world. That was like 2019. That was like 6 months ago. This report came out, and I've heard it before, but I didn't really put much, it didn't really make sense to me at the time. So now I have some context, so here's some things that I do know about from when I was doing my MBA work years ago. The country's credit rating by Standard & Poor's, that's what most of us know about. They have a B positive. The Fitch ratings, they have a B, meaning they're stable. And the Moody Investor Service is a B3. They're very stable. They have a progressive and transparent government. They have a stable democracy. So over the past several years or so, they've had some elections, some restructuring of their government, because they really want to promote, they really want to promote stability. They really want to invest in their economy and their standing in not only in Africa, but in the world. They have a progressive and transparent government. Like I said, their democracy is stable. They promote business. They've got a dynamic private sector, and they're ready for partnerships from people of the U.S. They're inviting African Americans to come and invest in the country. Not just African Americans, I keep saying that, but anyone of the diaspora who wants to come back and help rebuild. They're ready to establish partnerships. They have a very strong resource pool. Did you know that Ghana is the 2nd largest cocoa producer in the entire world? I didn't know that. They are also the 2nd biggest gold miner after South Africa. So out of African nations, they are Africa's 2nd biggest gold miner after South Africa. Wow. Rich countries, rich resources in Africa. So the geography, another benefit, is very close to the equator. It's right on the equator. The country, it's warm all of the time, year round there. The average flight is 8 hours from Europe or from America. And that's from Dulles Airport, 8 hours straight flight. So it's very close. You don't have to fly all over the world for 24 hours and such to get there. But let me back up. The airlines right now are suffering, and they've cut out a lot of flights. However, there are some direct flights still. So here are the top 5 investment opportunities in Ghana right now. Hotels, meaning tourism. So like I said, the emphasis is on tourism quite a bit. Quite a bit is on tourism. So right now is an opportune time for the Ghanaian people, as well as anyone of the diaspora, to go there and start up a travel and tourism business. Okay, fast food franchises. They love fast food. So if you wanted to go and start up a fast food franchise, they would welcome you there. Oil and gas. They have refineries there. That is a huge, huge industry in Ghana that's being developed, and there's room for expansion. And I mentioned before, mining, but not only gold. There are diamonds, manganese, and bauxite. And I didn't even know what bauxite was used for, so I had to look it up. So bauxite is a mineral that's used to produce aluminum. So they export that. They mine and export bauxite. And also didn't know what manganese was for. I've heard of it. Remember the periodic table from when we were in high school learning that in science? Well, manganese is used to create glass, to make it. It's also used in steel production, and it reduces the octane rating in gas. Who knew? It's also used in paint, and it's used in dry cell batteries. Who knew? Manganese. It also has a lot of health uses. There are a whole laundry list of things that manganese is good for in your body. It's a trace mineral. Your body needs it in small amounts. It's good for, I'm just going to mention just a couple. It's good for, it's found in nuts and seeds and legumes, whole grains, teas. It improves bone health. It's an antioxidant. It helps reduce inflammation in your body. And there's just so many things, so many benefits of manganese. And that is one of the main things that is mined and exported, one of the main minerals. There's also land ownership. Ghana right now, they have pretty good roads, so the roads go throughout the country. The country is about a little smaller than the state of Oregon. So they've got good roads, but they still have a lot of rural areas, and they're developing that. There is opportunities for land ownership in Ghana. So those are the 5 investment opportunities. So the next pillar is called Pathways to Ghana. And this was something that just blew my mind. I knew they invited us to come back, but I didn't know about this. This is called the Right of Abode Law. So this is huge, you guys. So number one, there's 2 categories of people. So if you remember your history, when Israel became a nation, they invited Jewish people of Jewish heritage to come and live in Israel wherever they were in the world. And so if you had Jewish or Hebrew ancestry, you could come and live there. And now Israel is like a superpower. They're very advanced in technology, and it's just a good place to be right now. Good for them. So the right of abode law, which is a part of the immigration laws that were modified around the year 2000, it granted citizenship to Ghanaian people who might have left or, I guess in recent times, acquired foreign nationality, like let's say they moved to the US or London or any place else, or even another country, in Africa itself. They can come back. It's also granted to a person of African descent in the diaspora. And guess who that is? That's me. That's my daughter. That's many of you. This blew my mind. You could come there and you could be granted citizenship. So you could be a dual US citizen and Ghanaian citizen. That blew my mind. I was like, wow. Wow, that was just awesome. So they're also enhancing the method in which you can get a visa. They're called diaspora visas. They have citizenship programs, educational and work exchanges. They're very big on education. So they've got a very educated group of people there. So that's another one of their resources. They're also facilitating residence and work permits. This is huge. So the third and final pillar that I wanted to talk about today is called Celebrate Ghana. And this pillar is emphasizing developing the national consciousness of the people, and they're doing this by cultural festivals, some of the indigenous or, festivals, they're trying to bring those back and put those on display, make them, elevate them, as well as some contemporary festivals. It's not all indigenous, but some of the Ghanaian cultural festivals, as well as some contemporary festivals, they're interweaving these into the concept of Celebrate Ghana. They're also doing a lot of media programs and promos, and they're enhancing their own domestic tourism like we're trying to do here in the US. It's kind of difficult, but that's what they're doing. That's a part of that pillar. So, Akwaaba, that means discover yourself. So, moving on, upcoming trips, History, Heritage, and Wildlife Safari Tour is going to be in November or December of 2021. I'm looking at the dates. I'm in conversation with some of my contacts over there. They're here in the United States as well, like dual citizens. As well as some people have actually expressed interest in repatriation tours. There are specific tours that are for people who want to invest in Ghana, maybe go there and buy property, maybe acquire dual citizenship, or just move there. So they actually have specific tours just for that. If you're interested in that, reach out to me. Get on my wait list. So in the first comment or the comment section of this video, you'll see how to get on the list, as well as you can scroll up to the top of the Facebook, and you can see, contact me, you can get on my calendar, or you can send me an email, agent@sillatravel.com. So that's all I really have for as far as my presentation is concerned. Now let me stop sharing. And I'm back. Woohoo! So, does anybody have any comments or any questions about anything that I talked about? Does anybody have questions? Or do you just want to go into the giveaway part? Okay, so before I do that, this is for the replay audience or those who dial in later or signed in later or got on Facebook later, so on and so forth, right? I'm going to say happy 4th of July again. And remember, I'm using StreamYard. It's a streaming tool. So go ahead, and if you want me to see your name and you want to comment or have any questions, go ahead and click the link. So StreamYard can have access to your Facebook information and profile. So let's see, Deborah had a comment. Thank you, Deborah. Deborah said, this was very informative, and thank you. Thank you, Deborah, for tuning in. Thank you, Nikita. Thank you, Caitlin. And if there are any of you out there that just didn't comment because you didn't hit, didn't share your screen, but that's okay. The replay audience is next. So hit live, hashtag live if you're live. Hashtag replay if you're replay. So if you're a replay audience person, tag hashtag replay. So, and I will be looking at all of the comments over the course of today and tomorrow, because I know there's a replay audience, and I know this is the 4th of July and people want to eat some more. I'm sure some of you have already eaten once or twice. I'm getting ready to grub in a few minutes. So, it's the giveaway about the book. Okay, so the most engaged person, so I see Nikita, I see Caitlin, I see Deborah, and I know there's going to be a slew of other people who make some comments during the replay. You could still, even if you made comments now, some of you started earlier. Yolanda, I don't see her on here now, but she started earlier. She was sharing my posts. All that stuff counts. So between now and tomorrow, because I know it's a holiday and you're going to be chilling, and maybe you want to look at the video later, or you want to share it with somebody, go ahead and share. Remember, share this video. Tell other people about it. If you're in a group, because there are a lot of people that are in business groups, entrepreneurship groups, because I do cater to those people as well. Share it there. Share it on your social media. Share it on LinkedIn. Share it on Twitter. Share it on your Instagram. I will be uploading a copy of this on Instagram because Instagram doesn't allow you to do live streaming using a tool. You just have to go in the live feature, hold your phone and do it. And it's just too much. Sometimes I do lives like I did earlier in the week on Instagram, but right now I'm just gonna, I said, nope, I'm just gonna stream here. So I'm going to be counting between now and tomorrow, checking out who engages the most, and the winner will win the book, Mama Dunk's Gullah Recipes, and it's written by Miss Teresa Hilliard. She is a storyteller extraordinaire as well as tour guide. She's from Edisto Island, and she is a Gullah Geechee descendant. Her grandmother was Mama Dunk, and she spoke the Gullah language, and she grew up with her grandma and learned how to even forage in the woods for like herbs and I guess berries and things like that. How many of y'all know how to forage and go into the woods? Anybody from the country that knows how to forage? I know my husband, he knows how to forage. He knows how to go shoot stuff. You know, my mom, she used to tell me, she's deceased now, she used to tell me that during the Great Depression, because that's when she grew up, they used to have to go into the woods. Her father used to go and shoot like raccoons and rabbits, and they would eat them because that was their food during the Great Depression. So some of these recipes in this book are traditional Gullah recipes, and we call them Gullah because of the Gullah Geechee culture and the corridor, which is along the southern coast of the United States from North Carolina, South Carolina to Georgia. And the coastal people who came here as enslaved Americans, they came here to Charleston where they were sold and they were dispersed. And the ones who remained along the coast, they kept their language and their traditions, they mixed. So they were all from different places. Even though they were from West Africa, they weren't all the same people. You know, which is why it's so difficult, you know, when you're looking on your DNA. I'm like, I have no idea where I could have. I'm just happy I know that I came from that I can narrow down to Nigeria, Ghana, and Senegambia. You know, I'm glad I can narrow it down. So, oh yeah, 23andMe. It's awesome. I actually have a relative that I found through 23andMe. We found each other. They did a DNA test, and she lives in Port Harcourt in Nigeria. She's in the Calabar. So I actually was like, yes, I'm related to somebody that I actually know in the motherland. So that's why I like 23andMe. They're trying to expand their database of people because that's how they compare your DNA. They have to get samples of people in these regions. So my mom's people were from South Carolina. My dad's people were from Virginia and Pennsylvania. That's where the lineage comes from. The Ghanaian people, most of them, when they came to the United States, they went to Virginia. And the ones who came to the United States to Charleston came from Nigeria. That makes sense. So I'm like, pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. I'm pretty happy about that. But thank you all for joining me. I'm looking to see if anybody has any comments. I'm going to share that. Get on the list if you want to know more about Ghana and the trip that I'm putting together. If you want to know anything, so I'll be sharing information as I find it out, as I put it together. That's a specific list just for Ghana. Right now it's Ghana. I hope to expand. We do hope to expand into South Africa, expand into Kenya, even Nigeria. So there'll be other destinations in Africa that we do tours and do excursions in. So this is Priscilla with Scylla Travel. And remember, I'm a luxury travel agent, and luxury just means what would make you feel so special when you go on your trip, when you work all your life and all year long. Don't you want something special, something customized? Don't you want to have a trip that, really embodies everything that you would love to do, that you've dreamt of doing, have somebody put it together for you? That's what I do, luxury travel advisor. So these African trips are really considered luxury because they're special, they're specialized, you know. But, if, there's another destination, if you want to go to Dubai, that's another destination that I do put packages together and help people on their trips. If you have a desire to go to the Caribbean, I do the Caribbean, I do Mexico, specializing in Africa, though. We are now members of the Association for Promotion of Tourism to Africa. So we're very happy about that. It's all about education. It looks like I have another comment. All right. Okay, Deborah's saying, everybody enjoy the rest of your 4th. You enjoy yours too. And just keep a lookout. Just keep posting. Keep engaging. I'll be checking out the comments. I'll be checking out your levels of engagement here. This is Priscilla with Priscilla Travel. And early next week, I'll be letting everybody know who won the book. There's an okra soup in there. And okra soup. Okra that's a Ghanaian treat. Okra soup, made almost the same way. This is Priscilla with Priscilla Travel signing off, and you have a great rest of your 4th of July. Bye-bye. Enjoy your eats.